Let me say from the outset, Viking River Cruises is not a sponsor of this episode or of the Making Our Way podcast. Nevertheless, should anyone from Viking be listening, well, we'll leave it up to you. January is turning into our Viking River Cruise month. January of last year, 2025, we welcomed Lillian and Larry Harrison to join Jan and Rob for a 3-episode series called An Epic Adventure. Today we begin a 4-episode series for Viking's romantic Danube cruise from Regensburg to Budapest, with additional visits to Prague and Nuremberg. Before we set sail, some logistics are in order. Just how do we plan an adventure like this anyway? Lillian, Larry, Jan, and Rob will have all the answers and make sure things are shipshape and Bristol fashion, just as soon as this music ends. Lillian and Larry joined us by way of video conference. Even if you're on the YouTube channel, we do not have live video feed, which is unfortunate because today we have with us 2 beautiful human specimens, Lillian and Larry Harrison, and they are back for a return visit because you guys did a re-trip, kind of.
Kind of.
So welcome. Do you have some coffee you can drink?
Right here. What are we drinking today?
Coffee.
Coffee. Good. Well, we always like to have our guests with coffee, so let that be our thanks to you. I have a number of questions that came up from the last time we talked to you about Viking, about touring like this. You've gone with them a couple times now, haven't you?
Three times.
We thought we'd share some of the things about logistics, travel with Viking, and the logistics of traveling, and in the hopes that it can make traveling accessible to other people, because this was a great way for us to go both times. We had a good experience with Viking, and that's why we repeated. They have, well, go ahead, Rob. What do you have to say about Viking?
What do you guys have to say
There you
about
go.
Viking?
Nothing but good things.
Well, you're in good hands. Any problem or obstacle that you encounter, they're there. They're there to catch you when you fall.
And we did fall. The best story I could think of customer service is Rob's lost Kindle. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to say lost.
I did not lose it.
Oh my gosh.
I left it. I knew exactly where it was. In Nuremberg. And we were in Regensburg, which didn't do me very much good, but I let Martin, who had been our guide in the Czech Republic and in Nuremberg, I let him know that I had left it at the hotel in Nuremberg. And I also told the concierge, I guess he was the guy in charge of the hotel manager. I let him know that I had left it there. He advised me to go ahead and call the hotel just to let them know, me personally. But he said, they've got people coming and going all the time from Nuremberg to Regensburg, so hopefully they could get it to me. So I called. I told them what room we'd been in, and they were real nice at the hotel. And then the next day, around dinner time, I went back to the room just before dinner, and there was my Kindle laying on the bed. They came through. Lil never doubted that it was going to happen. She was certain that they would get it to me.
She was the most certain. I was ready to order a new one. That was the difference. But one of the things I think we found in dealing with Viking is that, what Lil said, we have the support that whatever happens while we're traveling, there is somebody there that can help us, whether it's en route or when we get there with health issues or dietary issues or making reservations at a local restaurant. They are there to help us. And so it gives me a certain amount of security in traveling and knowing I'm not going to be left waiting at an airport. So
These are very nice hotels, and of course they have their own concierge, but you have the benefit of that as well as
The
your
Viking
own
desk.
personal Viking representative.
Yeah.
That gives a person that has anxiety a lot of security,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you guys land in Prague for a land part of this, and then you leave from Budapest. Is Viking with you every step of the way?
Yep.
Pretty much. Now, we tend to break off on our own after whatever excursions we have booked with Viking. But I believe even if you were doing something independently, if you ran into a problem, you could contact Viking. And that's why that contact number is something you always want to have with you when you travel with them, because they will help you through whatever you're experiencing. But with Viking, you really don't ever experience anything negative unless it's your own doing, right?
Yeah, probably, yes.
The way that Viking does travel, you really have the flexibility to do as much or as little as you want to with Viking. So the second trip we went on, we were more independent on this trip than we were the first trip. But we could do whatever we wanted that Viking provided, any tours, and then we can go off on our own. And they're good about accommodating that. It's not like they take possession of you and you have to go on this tour. You can go part way, you can stop, you can do whatever you want. So the more you know about a place, and if you travel with Lil, you're going to know about a place. The more you know, the more you can do on your own, but still know that Viking is there as a backup for whatever you need. And I think I would say the four of us would probably all say we would go on Viking again over
Oh, yeah.
trying something new. They're familiar, they do a great job, their organization is exceptional, and you get the information that you need to be where you want to be.
Yeah, from the time we arrived at the airport in Prague, they're there to pick you up, get you to the hotel. There's a desk at the hotel that's a Viking desk. It's set up, so any questions that you have, you meet your, I don't know, Martin wasn't really called a guide, I guess. He was the point man in Prague and Nuremberg, took care of getting us where we needed to be and explaining what needed to happen. And then the coaches that take us wherever we're going, there was a couple that were a little tight, I mean, knee-wise, for Larry especially. But
What, seating in the coach? Is
yeah,
that what
seating.
you're talking
I'm
about?
talking about the knees didn't fit in really well sometimes. And then I don't know what your experience was going to the airport, but when we got to the airport, there was a guy there that went with us, got us all the way to checking our bags. He helped everybody that was in our group on that particular flight. And then he took us to where we had to go through security, make sure we all got to the right place. Never left us that whole time. And there were some people in our group that needed some extra help. So it was pretty neat.
Everywhere you are, Viking provides you a map. And if you're in a hotel, the hotel will provide you with a map of the town. And it's just so simple and easy to get around.
Didn't you like the location of the two hotels we were at? We're so close to where we wanted to be.
I would like to go back to Prague and again to Nuremberg, because now Nuremberg's one of my top places.
Yeah.
But Prague, I would stay at the Art Nouveau Palace, and then at Nuremberg, I mean, it's right across the street from the train station.
Viking does a good job of selecting the hotels and maintaining a continuity no matter which hotel you stay in or which city you're in. It seems like it's the same quality. You can have the same expectations, and they always deliver.
Yeah.
You can tell, I guess I particularly noticed it with the Kindle misplacement.
I didn't misplace it. I knew exactly where it was.
Okay. So the situation with the Kindle, what that showed was the connections that Viking has in every location. They are a main customer to the cities that we were visiting, and their people are everywhere beyond just our little tour. We saw Viking people everywhere. There are Viking buses everywhere, and they have relationships with all of the hotels. So when you're calling a hotel and saying, I was with Viking and I stayed there, that's going to get you probably even better customer service than if you were just on your own. So I think their whole web of contact people is impressive. And again, Viking is a very visible tour company in every place that we went. So
In Prague and Nuremberg, we did this pre-extension, and it was fully guided.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just incredible. They get you to the hotel, and then he says, hey, we're going to have a meeting at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, and just in the sofas there. And we're going to talk about what's going to happen for the next few days. I don't believe you can ask for anything more from the beginning to the end, other than I would fly with my compadres the next time.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question. So you guys arrived in Prague. So you made those arrangements through Viking. That wasn't on your own. Okay, I didn't understand that. So they were able to take care of everything from the moment you landed.
Yeah.
You got on the boat a few days later, right?
Right.
Right.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
An example of one of the things that they do is we flew from Asheville to Chicago and was late getting out of Chicago. So when we arrived in Frankfurt, Viking was, as we came off the plane, they were like, go, 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 you got to go. We didn't make it. Well, when I went to the gate that we were supposed to fly out of from Frankfurt to Prague, I said, is it already gone? He goes, it's gone. I told him I was with Viking and gave him my name. And he goes, here's your new flight tickets.
This is why you want to do Viking Air. Viking Air, you get your transfers. At Viking Air, when you land, there's a Viking person there telling you where you need to go, how to get there. They will take your hand and walk you if you ask them to. And they get you to the airport when you leave, all your transfers, like I said. So I would always use Viking Air.
Yeah, I agree.
It's easier. The first one we took when we went to Portugal, we did our own air that time. And so we had to arrange our own transportation to get to the hotel. And it was okay, but it's just so much easier. You never have to touch your luggage except to put it out in the hallway before you go. It's just really easy.
Well, when we landed in Prague, we went to the belt where your luggage is coming out. We snagged our luggage, and I looked around and I didn't see a Viking person. So I called them, and they said, you need to go out these doors, and the Viking reps are standing outside. Went out the doors, there they are.
Yeah.
A couple of days before our flight, you get an email from Viking. I think that's when we got it. And a number that you could call if anything goes wrong during your travel. So like when their flight was missed, if there hadn't been somebody there or Viking somehow didn't know, you could call and they would tell you exactly what to do. So when we flew over, that was during the government shutdown. And I was worried mostly about Lil and Larry because they had a couple of flights within the United States. And I knew once we got on, we were going to be okay because we were going directly out. But I was worried that something was going to go wrong in their flights. But as it worked out, Viking was ready for that and took care of everything.
So when you say you're looking for Viking personnel, I'm assuming it's someone wearing a Fran Tarkenton jersey. Is that right? How can you tell what a Viking personnel person looks like? Well, how are they dressed? Do they hold signs?
Wearing a red Viking jacket, and they're
Viking
holding
sign.
a Viking sign.
Okay.
Easy to spot.
Speaking about logistics, Rob, you were saying that the Viking personnel said that you should call the hotel about your Kindle that you had left there on purpose. When you're saying make a phone call, how does your phone work when you're in Europe?
We've got T-Mobile, and part of our T-Mobile plan allows us to text and use data overseas. I forget, how much is it for an actual phone call?
I think it's 25 cents a minute.
25 cents a minute. So I spent
normal.
a couple bucks talking to the people in Nuremberg. So
Our plan has a certain amount of a limit on data and not a limit on texting, but on data. And I paid for my phone to have more than that. And Larry did the same thing. Larry got an extra plan for his phone and not Lil's. So they focused on using Larry's phone. Lil used hers as a camera. And what we've learned, I think, about walking around any of the cities in Europe is being able to use Google Maps, use data like that, very much improves our travel experience. So it's worth it and not that expensive to pay for that plan so you had that phone available.
We're with Verizon. You can get an international plan for a week or whatever, but we go ahead and do the whole month, and it's $100 and it's unlimited everything, but on the one phone. And then the other phone, Lil disables calling and Wi-Fi and everything.
But I would say this, even if you're going to have some kind of international plan on every phone that you have with you. There are times when you may or may not have service. So, essential items, I downloaded to my phone snapshots of different tours and different maps and had them in my phone so that they were accessible easily to me in the event that we needed them and were not able to get to them.
One of the great things about traveling with Lil is both Lil and Larry have refined the art. I'm going to go with Lil on this case. No offense to Larry. Refined the art of being prepared before you go and being able to travel without having their phone with them. So Lil comes with a paper map because she's looked before we go. And she's going to know all the places generally that we want to go, how close they are to the other places we want to go, how to get from here to there. If we lost all of our phones, all we'd really have to do is follow Lil because she had all that paper map before you went, which is the gift. I'm going to throw out my favorite travel guy besides Lil is Rick Steves, because he provides the kind of map and information about how to get around, about how to maneuver another country that can help you do all that without actually having your phone.
What about medical care? What do you do to go overseas?
We use Medicare Advantage, which I guess is Part C, to get international care if we needed it. We haven't needed it yet, although Jan and I got close this last time at the end.
Well, and I would say from our trip to Africa, I learned the value, again, about being this age. Things can go wrong before you take your trip. You could get sick before you take your trip. You could get sick over there to a level that required care. So we always now get the travel health insurance that we get through Viking. I think it's Alliance is the name of the company. Yeah. But we go ahead and pay for that coverage. I now realize more than ever that something could happen somewhere. And I want to know that it's not going to cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to just get home. So Larry, I'm just going to throw you under the bus here, Larry. Larry travels exceptionally well, and he does that even though he has diabetes. So flying and changing times and all that goes with the stress of travel can throw your system off. And so he had to deal with that. He had to deal with trying to get his system back in shape and be aware of his own body in order to care for himself.
When you fly, most people's ankles will swell from sitting so long when you fly internationally. So typically, like last year when we went to Amsterdam, within a day it started going down. Well, this trip, I guess because of the heart condition, they just kept getting bigger and bigger. Well, I just called the heart doctor over here in the U.S. and he said, double up on this medication for a day or two. And I did and went away, was gone in a day or two. And I didn't miss a beat.
The good thing about European travel and in that direction is that you're ahead time-wise. So you have plenty of time when you get up in the morning to start reaching out to your doctors for whatever information you may need. And sometimes your doctor in the States can help you. Certainly his heart doctor was very much able to assist us in a matter of a couple hours. Yep. So we're very grateful for that. But you want to have that information with you and readily available.
I think the thing that was great about this in watching how Larry and Lil maneuvered this was to realize that you can travel even with whatever health issues, for the most part, whatever health issues that you're dealing with. I know it doesn't stop Larry, but he also knew exactly how to take care of himself in that situation. And so I've learned now to travel with things like cold medicine and digestive aids and that kind of stuff, because at the end of this trip, both Larry and I got significant colds, and we were helped greatly by having drugs with us. We could have found them over there. We could have found a drugstore nearby. We knew how to find the drugstore. But when you're not feeling well and you're traveling, that's kind of a challenging time. So if you can have medication and also maybe stop for a day. There were a couple of things I didn't do on this trip because I knew I was only going to get worse. And so sometimes you have to stop for a day and just acknowledge what's happening and then take care of yourself.
And we did that. Jan and I both missed the hospital in Budapest, hospital in the Rock.
Yeah.
Love to have seen it, but my fear was not only did I feel bad, but I didn't want to be in a room making everybody else sick. So that day of rest, and then that night I was able to go out into the Christmas markets and go to dinner, and we all went to dinner. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you're inclined, and I haven't proven this yet, but I think if you're inclined, something like airborne before out your trip, probably a good idea. I didn't start showing symptoms of this respiratory thing until after we got home, and I had been taking airborne right up until we left. And it was the first time I'd ever done that. And I think
Left
that
the
may
US
have
to go there.
right,
Yeah.
that may have helped. And they say if you take it through your trip, that it has tremendous benefit.
I feel like for Lil and I, and now Rob and Jan, when I travel, we're aggressive. We do an awful lot in a day's time. You can wear yourself down. Thank goodness Jan had the cold medicine and I had the back patches.
Well, and you're eating and drinking much differently than you do at home. And so there's that aspect too. You kind of aren't always feeling great because you've done gastro damage to yourself from how much or what you've eaten. Taking care of yourself while you travel and recognizing things can go wrong is a very helpful thing to be conscious about.
Yeah.
What about diet restrictions? Jan, you're a vegetarian. I don't know if anyone else has any diet restrictions. Tell me about food and drinking tap water wherever you are.
Tap water's good
Yes, tap
in
water's
Europe.
fine.
Yeah.
First of all, every place we went, English was spoken. First of all, on the ship, they already know I'm a vegetarian, they accommodate that. But when you go into a restaurant, if you kind of know some key words, you can know what to avoid. I used Google Translate a few times to know what some ingredient was, and that is a very useful tool. In theory, I would try anything. The only thing I would like to not have, if I can help it, is meat. So I look for words then that will help me know if what I'm about to eat is okay. And I had no problem accommodating. I had no problem. Even at places like the Christmas markets that we went to and ate at, I could always find food that worked for me.
So basically, what I'm hearing is over there, the places you visited, it was not uncommon for them to be able to help you.
We were in a pretty meat-heavy culture. We were in Germany with sausages. So even there, I was able to find stuff. You were going to say something, Larry?
We actually went to a place in Nuremberg for dinner. Amazing. And Jan was going to get she had already pre-planned that she was going to get the sauerkraut and the potato salad, German potato salad. And it's amazing. Well, when she talked to the waitress and said, I'm vegan. And so she goes, so I'm going to have the potato salad and the sauerkraut, and the waitress, young girl, typically a young girl wouldn't know this. She says, you can't have the sauerkraut because it's cooked in sausage juice.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she guided me towards something else to get. I had never thought about that being an issue because I think I've gotten it before other places without knowing. So the fact that she was willing to help me, very user-friendly for people with dietary. You want to talk about money a little bit?
Yes. We had money. We had to have 3 different denominations of money, of currency. They never asked for a credit card anywhere we were. And that goes for the last time we were in Europe, too, a year ago. You pay at the table, or you go up to the register and use your phone. We did take $50 worth of Coronas in Prague and the Hungarian, whatever it is. We did $50 worth of those, too. We really didn't need it. We used almost all of it for tips.
I use most of my money for bathrooms.
Bathrooms, yeah. I gave Larry a 500 note, and he looked at it and said, I just want to go to the bathroom. And I said, well, it's going to cost you half of that to go to the bathroom in Hungary. So
So tipping is typical over there. I mean, I know when we went to Paris, we found out you don't typically tip, but the areas you went, and that's something that Viking may have helped you.
especially
know,
the
or-
guides, anyone who does a guiding for you, we prepay tips on the ship. And I think you guys did that too, didn't you? Yeah. So we do that, but then The guides in the towns where you do the excursions, they're all terrific. I don't think we've ever had a bad one. So we always like to tip them something also.
We also tipped bus drivers who drove us someplace. So it's not tips like in restaurants or stuff like
Right,
that.
yeah.
It's when somebody does a special service for you like that. And the pre and post trips, the tips are not included in the same way as they are on the ship. And it's not a large amount of money, but it's just a gratitude for being a guide.
And then on the ship, your room steward, we give them something extra, and your servers in the dining room, we give them a little extra.
They're assigned zones, just like in a restaurant. So sit at the same table all the time, every time, then you're going to have the same servers.
But
So
then
we'll leave a little early from the talk. One of us will break away and go down and get our spot. And then the others update you on what you missed when they come down.
I'm sorry, one of the things about Viking that they do, which is great, in the last hour of the day before dinner, or the last half hour before dinner, is everybody meets together in the lounge, and you get from the program director a lot of information about what's going to happen the next day. All that you would need to know, where you need to be, all of that. And you also get an introduction to dinner from the chef, specifically about what the specialties are of that night, which would be local fare for the place that you're in. And so you get this whole introduction. But because your seating in the dining room is not reserved, but we knew where we wanted to be and that we wanted to be together. So typically Larry was willing to leave the talk and go save us seats, because also he's a big guy and people don't mess with him when he's saving seats. We did get captured one night, and we do blame him for that couple that sat with us.
Michael and Ginger.
Michael and Ginger were impressive in their, well, I don't even know how to describe it. It was,
Michael had been everywhere, done everything, knew everybody.
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was very impressive. We didn't really need to talk. It was all taken care of for us, and we just stood in awe of the experience. So,
I would say one more thing. When you're on the ship, you're going to have Wi-Fi. And so you have an opportunity to check your email and whatever else it is that you do. And I didn't find the Wi-Fi to be any worse than it is at home for me.
well,
So,
no, you live in the, dark, wherever that is.
I do.
DSL world.
Yes. We have DSL. So
Actually-
the ship was great. It was actually an upgrade.
The thing about Wi-Fi that's interesting about that is if any of the people in our listening audience go on regular cruises, which we don't really do, but in that situation, you have to pay for Wi-Fi. And with Viking, you do not. That is a part of the all-inclusive approach they have. So you're not being charged for that Wi-Fi use while you're on the ship.
So there are a few tips from our seasoned travelers about Viking River Cruises and the logistics involved in overseas travel. By the way, if you decide to use Viking for your travels, please let them know you heard about them on this podcast, Making Our Way. Doing so will not save you a dime. They will offer you no special coupons, no discounts, and in turn, we will receive no incentives or kickbacks. Next time, the tour continues in Prague, the city of 100 spires, though the actual count ranges between 500 and 1,000. Thank you for your company today. We look forward to having you join with us again as we continue making our way. Until next time.